Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you are all doing well. If you can hear me, please give me a thumbs up or say something in the chat. My name is Melanie Hapisu. I am honored to be here. Thank you so much for joining. We were buying some time for quorum. Thank you so much for confirming that you can hear me. And we are happy you're here. Welcome to this webinar that is titled The Power of Visual Storytelling. And we'll also get to talk about how you can create graphics that inspire action using a tool called Canva. So I am the founder and CEO of a digital marketing agency called DigiPath Africa, where we work with brands to help them generate leads from their online paid advertising efforts. And of course, with ads and all that, then graphics is one thing that comes in, and hence the reason why I'm doing this webinar with Dennis, who I'll be introducing in a few. So Dennis is a graphic designer. He has quite a skill, especially when it comes to creating designs with different tools. One of the tools being Canva, which is what he'll get to do a demo for us today. He's worked with brands in different industries to just help them create graphics that can help to inspire action and, of course, connect with their consumers. So Dennis, maybe in a minute, just say hello to everyone and maybe just a comment from you before we start off.
Thank you for the introduction, Melanie. So today we'll be going through different ways you can communicate through design, and I'll be teaching you Canva as a tool, which can also help you create captivating and interesting designs to communicate your message.
Nice. Thank you so much, Dennis. So I can see a few more people are still joining, but we will just get started. So thank you everyone once again for joining. You have not missed anything other than introductions. We have just started off. So I think we'll start from the point of why exactly is visual storytelling an important part of this whole conversation? Of course, being in a digital landscape right now, everybody wants to stand out. You know, there are so many brands talking both online and offline, and it's now more about what's that one thing that is going to make people stop when they bump into your communication, whether it's online and offline. And that's where this whole conversation of visuals comes in. So as we keep going today, you know, we'll even get to see different examples of how visuals can convey different emotions in people, whether it's through video, whether it's through still ones, you know, how we can use it to capture attention. And I mean, you get to ask yourself questions like, oh, no wonder there are so many, you know, billboards. I can assure you today, for example, we've probably left the house if you haven't seen so many billboards, but how many of them do you actually remember? If you've not left the house, I'm sure you've been scrolling on your social media through the morning. You know, how many of these, you know, communications that you've bumped into do you actually remember? And so that's what this whole conversation for today is all about. So not only are we trying to communicate in a way that will, you know, help us stand out, you know, but we're also looking to understand little things like what is it that works for our target audience in terms of visual representation of information. We are so used to brands just doing ordinary video content or ordinary still content, but what more can they do, you know, to be able to improve the content they're putting out? I've seen different brands, you know, a brand that can come into mind that I think is doing an okay job when it comes to using variety of content is a brand like KCB Bank. I know on their posts, sometimes you'll even bump into puzzles where they'll, you know, have people identify different words in the puzzles that probably go in line with the products or services they're trying to market. I've seen different brands using things like even, you know, games. So it's all about asking yourself, what is that best way that your brand can stand out, but still be able to talk to your target audience and still, you know, sort of meet whatever preference it is that they have. So before we get started, I'd like to show a few things on my screen. I will start off with a video that I've seen an influencer do recently, where she was advertising a product. I won't mention the product as yet, but you get to see it on the advertisement. So I'll just play the video, and then maybe after I play the video, then I want a few things to keep, running in your head. What are some of the things they probably thought of even as they were shooting the video to be able to be visually appealing when it comes to their target audience? We'll also get to see some examples of billboards, and ask ourselves if it was you who bumped into some of these visual communications, what would intrigue you the most? Would you take any action, or, would it just end at watching or seeing the communication and that's it? So let's have a look. And then after that, maybe we can have a few people just unmute themselves and, tell us what they think. Would you take any action after seeing any of these visual representations of the communication the brands are trying to make? So I'll share my screen. I'll start off with the video, and then we can go to the still images.
Music has always been a part of me. And did you know that I studied classical music and played the piano for 15 years? Yes, you've seen me on stage, but that is not where I found my edge. I also sound design. I can take this to this. So tell me, what's your edge?
Okay, so that's our first, let's say, visual demo that we'll be looking at. I'll share now still ones, and then we can get some comments from some people. If you bumped into any of these online, offline, would they trigger you to do anything, or no matter how, curious or not curious you are, would you be triggered to do anything? So I'll just share this remaining two brands, which are still visuals. So in a minute, you'll see my screen. This is a recent billboard that I think maybe some of us have seen by Little Cubs, and they have different variations of them. So this is the first one that says, Niaje Kile, Hudia you guy my guy, and Fly Mamas. Asante for riding little Miaka Saba, we love you. Then the second one says this, Niaje Kanairo, capital city Africa, biz ni ujipange ama upangwe. So yeah, those are the two we looked at for now. Then the final one is some two billboards from a brand called Sky Garden. We can start with this first one of Don't Go to Sky Garden, and then we have this man on the billboard. And then the final one is this one that says, this is a big billboard for a small Kenyan brand. We really hope it works. Sky Garden. So based on those different visual representations we've seen, I'd love to hear from a few people. Would it trigger anything? Would it trigger you to do anything if you bumped into them? And if it would, what would that be? I don't want to pick on people, but yeah, maybe we can hear from a few people. If you're comfortable, feel free to unmute yourself. Okay, maybe Lulu, allow me to bully you for today, please.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
Okay,
any
so
thoughts?
I don't know whether maybe I'm not the target audience, but so I like the Sky Garden one because it was loud, simple, and straight to the point. Like, so even if I'm driving, I'm on the road, I can see it and it grabs my attention. The little one, I found I had to keep rereading it to understand what they were trying to say. And yeah, I felt like there's a lot of jargon going on. I even thought little Miyaka. I was like, are they saying 7 years or is it Miyaka somebody's name?
Yeah.
And then the one for the Smirnoff ad, I thought it was quite interesting. And I think it's different because they're trying to sell alcohol without telling people to drink alcohol. So it was more about the person in the story rather than really the alcohol. I don't think it would make me buy Smirnoff, but at least it would make me think about their brand a little bit more. And not to be
Nice.
so judgmental about people who drink Smirnoff like they're just alcoholics, but they actually studied, so it brought out a different side of their audience that I had not considered.
Nice. It's interesting that you actually thought that far, even in terms of, not just to think they're alcoholics, but I think something that has really stuck with me from what you've said is the Sky Garden one was loud, simple, and straight to the point for you. Would you have been curious to find out, what or who Sky Garden is or what they're all about? Do you think, if you were in traffic, is that something you do there later?
Yeah, I think so, because actually when I started seeing their billboards, I never used to take Sky Garden seriously. And then when I started seeing their billboards, I was like, oh, okay, let me actually check out. So when I would start looking for things, maybe even on Gigi, or at that time I think those OLX and stuff, it's like, okay, let's actually check out Sky Garden. Then you actually started to see the merchants there and things like that. So I think it was a great idea. Maybe it just came a bit too late because they shut operations. But yeah, it made me more curious. Yeah.
Okay, nice. I like the curious bit. Thank you so much for that, Lulu.
Can I
Maybe you can hear
comment,
from...
Melanie?
Yes,
Can I make a comment? Okay,
yes, you
great.
can.
So I think I'll get a different perspective from Lulu's. Sorry, Lulu. So when I see the
It's
billboard
okay.
when I see the billboard on Sky Garden, I'd be like, hey, what is Sky Garden really? Because even up to now, I don't know what Sky Garden is. So it will prompt me to go and check why are we being advised not to go to Sky Garden? Why are they calling themselves a small brand or things like that? For the first one that you have shared, I think Smirnoff is it Smirnoff or which one? Or Singleton? Singleton also had such placements where, as a young person, you tend to affiliate with people that you look forward to being. Like, say, I'm a young aspiring musician. I see someone who is in music, and this is what they have for entertainment when they're creating music and things like that. And I'd feel like, hey, because they're doing this, I will also tend to do something similar. And then the other one was on, I think I've seen 3. The
Little one, little cubs. Yeah.
I feel like the little one was so direct because depending on where they positioned the content, they spoke to them in the language that they used there. So I feel like from the way they said, I think Mtaya, you guy, my guy, they spoke to them in a language that they understood. And because of that, you'd notice most of the people around Kile will tend to affiliate to Little because they have identified that anyway, people around this area are using Little. So I loved the idea, Little Cup.
Nice.
That's
Thank you,
from my side.
Rachel. Thank you so much. And I mean, that's just a clear example of, why understanding your target audience when it comes to your visual storytelling is important, because Rachel's insights and Lulu's insights were a little bit different, but at the end of the day, if you are targeting both of them, then you need to be able to know how exactly should you deliver that in a more clear way. So it's all about understanding what works for your target audience visually, but also what is the goal. So for example, I like what you said, Rachel, of you'd be curious to go to Sky Garden after seeing this billboard of don't go to Sky Garden. And what was the goal Sky Garden had? Was it to get people curious, or what exactly was it? If you've seen some of Sky Garden's ads, Sky Garden is an e-commerce platform. You'll notice that when they began, most of them were text-based. So some would have, text, a lot of text, some would have little text, but they had quite a good balance of some text was in a smaller font as compared to the big one. Some was just all big. And that also comes into play. So you'll realize when Dennis takes it up, especially when we're talking about the demos, you get to appreciate why visual elements are so important. It's not by mistake that whatever is in capital on a billboard is actually in capital letters. There was a reason for it. There's a way that human beings read stuff, and that's what some of this communication is trying to achieve. Are they going to start with the information in capital letters, or are they going to start with the small one? Are they going to read whatever is in the middle of the billboard first, as compared to what is elsewhere? So it's not that when the designers were doing it, they were just looking for something that looks nice, but they also had to, think about the psychology behind all of it. So it's all about resonating with your target audience and what would, apply to them, whether it's something you're trying to push in an emotional way or not in an emotional sort of way. So I think, speaking of elements, I'd like to hand it over to Dennis a bit, who will just show us a few examples that he has that will talk about, the different important things you need to, think about. We've talked a bit about some, for example, where text is placed. But I know as Dennis shares his screen in a minute, you'll be able to see a lot more than that, which is what he's going to be, sort of taking us through to be able to appreciate as you come up with your visuals. And today we'll focus on still. Bear with us for that. But even as you do your visuals, what are some of the things that you need to think about that in the end still will have a great result in the final story that you're trying to tell visually? So Dennis, I think I'll hand it over to you. I can see your screen is up. So yeah, over to you.
So thank you, Melanie, for the insights about visual elements. And today I'll try to show you from a designer's perspective why visual elements are important. And for today, we'll start with, the white space. Normally, this is not something anyone would consider like just a normal, a blank canvas. But with this blank canvas is where you balance all your visual elements. And what do we mean when we say visual elements? Visual elements are the things that you're going to use in your design to help you communicate or relay the certain message that you're trying to communicate. These include things like shapes, the text, the colors, and everything else that goes into a design, so which includes even the white space. And the reason why the white space and everything else is important is because with everything, there's a reason as to why. Let's say with this design as an example, there's a reason as to why the text is this. You are free to believe text is huge, followed with a small text here and a small image. It's because the message that they were trying to communicate with this design is that you are free to believe in whatever you're free to believe. And that's when you'll ask yourself, what am I free to believe in? And then when you read the secondary text down here is when you'll see it's about religion. So text is very important. It might not take the show in a design. Let's say if you have a design with a lot of elements such as this one, where there's an image, there's text, there's shapes, and everything else. But for like the Sky Garden example that you were seeing earlier, they used text to communicate there, to communicate and to relate with the target audience. And it worked because every element has a part to play in a design. and you have to use text in a way that is useful for your design. So if, let's say, I add a few texts here, and as you can see this design, how it looks, you can already tell maybe the design is a bit, the text here is a bit crammed. The reason that you felt that it's all squeezed up together is because of the spacing, and with you spacing it a bit, with the heading above there and subheading following, then maybe the body now from there, it kind of now looks arranged, and you can tell with the size of the text what information is important. So the heading, which is usually more important, is usually the large text, and that's why it's big. And then for the body, which you'll later maybe read on later, because chances are you might even skip this design when you're on, maybe when it's on Instagram or on Facebook. At least you have an idea of what they were trying to communicate with the big text. And for the second visual element I want us to discuss is color. And for color, you have to be able to balance the colors that you use. There's a reason I have these two colors, blue and red. And as you can already see, the red here is kind of not clear. When you see this means that the readability of this text is not nice. So you might not be able to see well the message being communicated with this text. And a way to solve this is by simply playing with the colors, trying to balance these colors. So if I would, let's say, change this color to white, you'll be able to see, and it's now not blurry as it was before. And let's say if I was to instead try and use a different shade of blue, and we can come here and maybe use that. You can see, at least now with this heading, we can be able to see it well and not like before. So colors play a big role in a design. That's why all these big brands associate themselves with a certain color, and they're always consistent with the colors that they use. So as when you just see that color, you just associate it with that certain brand. And for colors, it might be challenging, especially, let's say, if you're trying to design maybe as a beginner, or even maybe as you continue designing. Colors, they might be a bit challenging, but you're encouraged to play with a few colors. So let's say for this blue color, as you saw earlier, with me changing the shade of the blue, we were able to cool the blue a bit down, and it was not shouting like it was before. So you can be able to, let's say you want to use you are using blue, you can use different shades of blue to be able to complement your design and make your design look visually appealing. And now we are going now to the layout. So for our third visual element, or the basics of which touches on the basics of design, is layout and composition of your design. So for that, I'll be using these few templates that we have here on the screen. So I'll start with this one. So for layout is like the foundation of your design. It's how you arrange these shapes. It's how you arrange these images and the text in your design. If you, let's say, use this design as an example, I'll duplicate it here. If maybe I took this arc here and the logo, and let's say I put it I drag it down here, you can already see it's already overlapping on the About Me text, and you cannot see, it doesn't look really visually appealing. It looks like it's not well arranged, and that's where layout plays a role, because with layout, you need to align all these elements so as each can communicate well and no information is passed or overlapped. So layout is really important, and with Canva, it helps you with the layout. So as you can see, when I start dragging this arc around, you can already see these purple guidelines that are already popping up. Those are there to help you with arranging these elements in your design so as to have them neatly arranged, and so as that you can communicate well with your design. And lastly, I'll touch on images. Images are very important. The reason why I say images are very important is because first, the images help you communicate without even using text. So you can communicate a lot using a certain image. And also with images, they sometimes might be quite challenging to find, but I always insist on using free materials if possible. And as we go along with this class, I'll show you different websites which you can get free images from so as to use in your design. And the reason I insist with using free images is because so as you cannot be hit with a copyright strike because of using another person's image without their consent. So images play a big role, and I would use Kenya as an example. And as me as a designer, when I'm creating a design for a Kenyan client or an African client, I tend to use, if the image entails using images of people, I tend to use Black people or African people. This is because those brands are trying to communicate with Africans. And if you use, let's say, a white person in the image, you might find it's not relating with the rest of the design, or it's not relating with the people you're trying to target. And those are ways in which you might find images play a big role in a design. And lastly, I'll touch on branding and identity. So branding is basically how people outside view, let's say, your company or relate with your company. Let's say something like M-Pesa or Safaricom. The reason they are consistent with their colors and with being consistent with that branding is because they want you to, every time you see Safaricom colors, they want you to relate with Safaricom. When you see red, they want you to relate with maybe Airtel, and so on and so forth. So branding is how your consumers or the target audience views you or identifies your brand. And it's really important for, let's say, if you're starting a company or you want to create content for your brand or your business, you have to be able to, create a consistent way of identifying your brand. That's with the colors, with the logos, with the text. And the reason for being consistent is so as to enable, first of all, your design to be visually appealing and readable, but also simple and easy for the target audience to understand. And with that, I am through with the basics of design and how visual elements play a role in your design. And if anyone has a question, feel free to ask.
Okay, maybe as we get those questions, please feel free to put in your questions in the chat. We'll get to them during the Q&A session. Thank you so much, Denise, for that. Maybe just a question for you, Denise. Out of curiosity, what are some of the things that help you as a graphic designer, sort of figure out how to tell a client's story visually? Are there, important things that a client has to share, or important things that you look out for to help you tell that story better as you design?
Yes, so there is material that you need, which is called a design brief. So basically, a design brief is a document that contains the image copy, and the image copy is the text which will go on the design. So for the text, like let's say for this about me design here, this text that you see, the about me, our company offers a wide range of design services, that's the image copy. And a design brief may also have things like the images they want you to use, the logo, the colors. That's an image copy contains the branding or the brand kit for the client, and that's what we or I use as a designer to help me, visually like imagine what I need to come up with.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Dennis. Maybe before we come to you, I can see someone has sent me a chat on the side asking for a quick demo of Canva. We'll do that in a bit. But as you can see, guys, it's more about understanding what story it is you want to sort of give or deliver and who you're delivering it for. I like to show this visual in some of the trainings that we have. And yeah, maybe we can just have a look at it and see, did people actually read the text as it is written in the image? Or, did you probably read it another way? Would be interesting to know if someone has read the text in a different way compared to what they said. Anyone? Ama, we all have the same brain.
Same brain.
Same brain. I know for most of us, probably same brain. I remember the first time I saw this visual. I remember it was during a class at some point in school, and I was so amused. I was like, oh my God, that's actually how we read it. So I mean, now after this, go back to those posts you've seen on social media or those billboards, you probably find that chances are, this is actually how you're reading it. And, just to sort of cement all this and everything we've been talking about, I'd like to play a video, that will sort of summarize everything we've talked about and bring in the marketing angle. For those who are there, when I introduce myself, I'm a marketer. And as you know, in addition to everything else we have, whether it's captions, whether it's emails going out, visuals are a strong, can I say, backup to improve that communication. So where does all this sort of meet? How does it mesh? I'd like us to just, watch a video around that, and then I'll take the questions in the chat. I can see there's one question, and then we'll finalize with a demo. So yeah, let's watch the video and then continue from there.
Let's talk about visual storytelling and animation. Visual storytelling opens up a whole new world of possibilities for businesses as it evokes emotional experiences that influence a customer's decision-making journey. As it gains traction, it's now time to take visual storytelling to the next level, making it interactive to your audience through animation. Here are 3 reasons why you should start adopting animations in your marketing strategies. First, depth of content. Animations allow content to reach audiences on a deeper level by offering an immersive experience, something static visuals are not capable of doing. Second, effective storytelling. It tells a story effectively and efficiently, helping people gain more information in just a few seconds or minutes. Third, creative expression. Animation allows brands to express themselves even more creatively beyond their audience's imagination. So, what are you waiting for? Time to get things moving, literally. Talk to us and let's bring.
I think I'll end the video there, but as you can see, some of the things we've already talked about. So please, I hope that this, let me say, intro session to sort of visual storytelling and Canva, has gotten you thinking about, some of the ways you're telling your brand story visually. I can see someone in the chat asking, how important is it to brand all social media images and not just the infographics? Lulu, maybe just for clarification, by brand, you mean logo, colors for the brand, or do you mean something else?
I mean like the logo, because I think that has always been my challenge with social media. It's like I'll start creating the content, then I remember, oh, do I have to put a logo on all my, like it's just yeah, do I have to put my logo on all my images that I post on social media? Even like if you're doing a carousel, then you have to put the logo on all the images, yeah.
Okay, thanks for that. I think that's a question that many people ask, and maybe Dennis will give his comments in a bit, and anybody else who would also have something else to sort of add on. I think putting logos on all graphics is something we've seen many brands do, so it's almost automatic. It's become almost automatic. For me, I think it's not, an absolute requirement, but it depends. We are living in an economy where people are stealing each other's content. So I think that's, one of the, can I say, things that keep people calm in terms of if it has my logo, no one is sort of gonna steal it. But at the end of the day, that logo is like your name, it's what's giving your company the branding, that it deserves, and it's giving you the identity. So if you want people to identify that content with your brand, then the logo would come in handy, definitely. So I think the question we should be asking ourselves is, where exactly should this logo, be placed to avoid the focus being on the logo rather than the content itself? So I think, that's one thing that you really need to keep asking yourself. Geoffrey, I know your mic was unmuted. Would you like to say something?
Yes, I actually wanted to just jump in and chime. Interesting that this semester, for the next 3 months, there's a high chance I might be teaching online corporate branding. And what I like to tell people is branding your photography starts way before you even put a logo on it. It starts with the portraiture, the drama, and the effect, as well as the mood and the feel that you want to introduce in your photography and the storytelling that you want to carry. For example, when I look at your portrait, Melanie, in your yellow dress and you're smiling at us, I can see the photographer tried, introducing certain lighting element. There's a specific kind of drama that he wanted to remove and make it as formal as possible. It was intentional. So it was a directed photography session. That's where the branding starts. So it depends on, do you want to tell your story in a certain way and communicate a certain mood and voice through your photography? That is very important. And that's a whole lesson on photography 101, blah, blah, and how you can brand. But why do you need to brand all your images online? One, should there be a situation where your advertising or organically go viral, that goes with your brand on it and people get to recognize it. And two, you want to protect your intellectual property as much as you can. And three, remember, we are all clamoring for attention online. So whatever you can introduce as a way of saying and shouting, hey, it is me, this is for me, recognize me. And remember, branding is what we use so that people can recognize us in a certain way. So whenever you get opportunity, please do so. And branding is not only putting a logo on it, there's also an aspect of color. There are captions that you put, your captioning style, the frames that you put on it. And there are so many tools, including Canva, that we are learning today that would help you to do this branding game. So I would say, yes, please brand every time you have opportunity to do so.
Nice. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. It's interesting to see that, branding starts as far as photography. The little things that we take, simply definitely come, to be important in the end. So Lulu, I hope that answers you. Thank you so much, Geoffrey, for that addition. Any addition from anyone else before we do the quick Canva demo from Dennis?
Just a small comment on logo placement. So you find there are some platforms that will, if let's say you do a carousel or you've posted a number of images, they will appear as individual images in the platform. So that's why it is important to still put your logo, because you don't know how the viewer is going to receive one particular one. And then also you'll notice while you're doing advertisements, sometimes it may direct your images to your stories and things like that. So if the logo is only on the number 1, but the other 8 do not have, then you might miss out on it. So just for the consistency, then the logo is very important.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Consistency is extremely important. Again, I like even the example that was given. Imagine that all your posts are going to be viral. If your identity, in this case being your logo, goes with it, even better. People get to know what brand was sort of associated with that. So thank you so much for your questions. I think as we finalize, in case you have any other question, feel free to write it in the chat as Dennis does the Canva demo. So if you're an upcoming business owner or you've never used Canva before, we'll just show you the critical sections of Canva that, will come in handy even as you start off, because Canva has such great potential. I know for more experienced graphic designers, then they say, designing on Canva doesn't make you a designer, but sometimes with the way things are going, we want to learn a new skill, you want to be able to do things quickly on your own. I think then, Canva really comes through when it comes to that. So Dennis will give us a brief demo. We won't do any designs today, but more of a bit of navigation just for you to see the potential of what you can design and different features you can utilize. And then we'll take any final questions and wrap it up for the day. So Dennis, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Melanie, and thank you for the conversation that you were having earlier about branding, because it's important for, as Geoffrey has put, that it's important to have branding in any opportunity you get, to have your brand and your logo always there. It so as to help you also captivate new and also keep the audience that's already identified you with a certain logo, with a certain color, or a certain way. And Canva is one of the tools that can help you, with your branding. And to access Canva, you might go search Canva on Google and it will take you to this page. So for today, I'll just show you how to navigate Canva, and we have the timeline section here. This is where all your work will be. So if you want to see the most recent design that you've done, they'll be in this section here. And this home section, as you can see, it has the projects. This is where your projects are. And this is the template sections, where if you want to use templates, Canva has a lot of templates that can help you with your design. So let's say you don't have a visual, you don't know which vibe to use in your design or which direction to use. You might go here to the template section and search for various templates that might help you. And with Canva, it has a lot of tools. Recently, they introduced visual documents and their own visual and their own office kind of. So these visual documents and visual PDF presentation, this is basically like Microsoft Office. So if you want to use Canva to maybe create your image copy and your designs and all that, you might get it from here.
We lost you a bit, Dennis, but maybe as you come back, I can see a question in the chat. Someone is asking, is Canva free or paid? So there's a free version, that still gets you a lot that you benefit from, but there's also a paid version, the pro side. The pro version, I think, is around $50 a year, so like $6 a month. 6.4 something dollars a month. And then we have Canva for teams as well. So if you're, working with more than one person in the team and you sort of want to collaborate and work together on Canva, it's also possible. They now charge double of the $6, so $12. I'll share a link in the chat to their pricing section where you can get to sort of learn more about it. But I think even on the free version, I remember even when I first started using Canva, I had the opportunity to work with the free version first, and there was quite a lot of benefit when it came to the things that you can get in terms of features. So by the time I moved to Pro, actually I moved to Pro when we now started working as a team. That was the first benefit. And then now when we needed more options for pictures, because then the pictures we'd get that were not subject to copyright were a little bit limited. So the Pro version has, way more pictures that you can actually use for your graphics. So if you check out that link, I think it will give you, more ideas of which package would be, sort of best for you. And what I like the most about Canva, even as, Dennis rejoins and tries to share his screen once again, is the fact that you can design a lot. As he does the demo, you're going to realize that it's not just about, posters, but when he left, he was talking about, documents that you can also design. You can do videos. I always meet people who are always struggling to figure out how can they, come up with business cards, for example. It's something that you can actually do on Canva, which is what Dennis is going to be showing us in a few minutes. So Dennis, back to you.
Thank you, Melanie. Sorry for the drop-off. So as I was saying, at the top section here, you can see all the types of designs or media that you can create using Canva. So as Melanie was saying, you can edit your own photos and videos from Canva. You can also create your own business cards, your branded t-shirts, and maybe hoodies, and also for logos and all these business or branding materials that you might need. You can also use Canva to create them. And as Melanie was trying to explain for you the pricing, so for Canva, there's a free version. The one that we are navigating right now is free, and with free you can do a lot with it. So before paying for Canva, I think you should first try and maybe see if you need the pro version. The pro versions usually mostly help with materials such as photos and a greater selection of templates that other designers have uploaded onto Canva, and you can use if you want. And for teams, this is for basically, let's say you run an agency, a graphic design agency, you can also use Canva for your graphic design department, and they can work together as a team on it. And when you want to create let's say you want to create a social media post, like an Instagram post, Canva also helps with automatically knowing the sizes. So it's not a must, the the whole dimension of, so as not to have your media, uploaded and it's already cropped out. So for, let's say you want to an Instagram story, you can just search here, or as you can see, it's already here. So let's say we want to create a Instagram post. When you click on Instagram posts, it will take you now to the create page, where you get this whiteboard or white canvas to use. And as you can see, this is where you might, if you want to share now your design after finishing, you will come here at this share button at the top, and you can add the people in your team or anyone with the link. You can copy it and you can also download it. And Canva usually suggests for you the file format to use. So that's a very useful feature from Canva, which I like. And you can also share it directly on social media if you have your pages linked, and so on and so forth. So if you come here to the left side of the page, you can see the design section. Here is where all the templates are, as I was showing you on the homepage earlier. So you can come here and search. Let's say you want to make like a webinar. You want to create a webinar poster. You can come here, search for webinar, and automatically Canva gives you some free templates and pro templates. And as you can see, with the ones with a crown are pro, and you can use them, but they will have a Canva watermark on top of them if you haven't paid for the pro version. So here is where you get your elements. Let's say you want to add shapes, lines, and all of that on your design. Here is where you get them. Even if you want to, let's say, add like a call button, all you'd need to do with Canva is just search. And that's why I enjoy designing with Canva, because it's really simple, especially for, let's say, to help a new designer or even an established designer work very fast with Canva. So here is the element section. As you can see, there's all types of elements such as graphics, stickers. You can use even live stickers and photos and so on and so forth. We have the text section here, which you can see, and they've already given you a lot of, they've given you a selection of text styles that you can use when you're trying to create. And then we have the branding button here. This is a Canva Pro feature, but let's say you're working with a client who has already given you the branding information you need. That's the color, logo, and all. This is the section where you upload them, and it will help you be faster with your creativity, with your creation of a design. If you want to upload a photo, if you have it from your computer, this is where you upload it, or you can just drag it straight from your computer. It's an easier way. And for this draw section, this was also introduced recently. So for now, Canva supports drawing with pens. So for people who use, who have those, the drawing hardware, you can use this Canva now. And this is a project section where all your projects will be saved. And if you want to get material from another project you are using, as you can see, this is what you were using before. You can get it from here. And now we have the apps section. This is also a very important place. And this is where Canva usually updates its website, and every time they introduce new features. So recently they've been introducing AI features that can help you, with your editing and with your creation, such as you can see this music generator. And as you continue discovering, you will find a lot of apps that can help you. So when you click your apps section, you'll find them here. Most of the apps you might find, especially the AI ones, you might find maybe they are a pro feature, but basically that's where you find them. And for, let's say now a design, for the last section, I'll show you. I'll use this as an example. So if you want to edit, let's say this text, as you can see, I was telling you earlier, you can already see the Canva watermark on the back of the design. That's because you're using a pro template editing it, and this is not a and we are using we're in a free account. So let's say you want to change the type of the font. So this top section is where mostly all the rest of the tools are. We have here is where you come and select which type of font you want. Also in this font section, there are pro fonts. As long as you see this crown over here, that's a pro font. So if you use it, yeah, you will have a watermark on your design. So, but Canva has a lot of free material that you can use. So you might not even need to pay for the pro. And here's where you change your font size, the text color, and let's say you want to change the effect of this text. This effects section is where you go. There's a lot of different types of effects that you can use. And as you can see, when I click, it changes how the text looks and so on. So Canva is very fun and has a lot of tools. So you can even animate if you want to animate the text. And basically that's it. Here we have the position. So if you want to, if certain elements are overlapping on each other and you want to arrange them on your design, this is where you go. You can align everything. Let's say you multi-select all of these things and you want them in the center. You can come here, quickly click center, and all your elements will be centered. And that's basically it for today. So when you want to save, there's the file section here. And this is where you can rename your design, download, and everything else. Canva also supports redo and undo. So basically that's it for Canva and the navigation for Canva. If anyone has a question, feel free to ask. And basically that's it for today.
Thank you so much, Dennis. I hope that gives a bit of an intro to Canva for those who are curious. Keep exploring. Canva has a lot. I like that Dennis has also mentioned the AI bit, which I think has been quite interesting. I've actually even been seeing some people on TikTok who are sort of using can I say ChatGPT in connection with Canva, to help them even bulk create posters for as long as they have the same look and feel. So I'm sure, the more curious you get on the platform, the higher chances of, you being able to explore. So we'll take any final questions if there are any. If there are none, that's also okay. I think I had shared links to both my LinkedIn and Dennis's LinkedIn on the chat, so feel free to connect with us. Dennis does trainings on graphic design as well using Canva. So in case you're interested, feel free to reach out to him, or if you need help in terms of graphic work, you can always reach out to him. But from us, I think that's it. I'll give it a minute in case there are any questions. If not, I think we can end the call. But thank you so much for joining in today. We appreciate it. If there are no questions, feel free to leave at your pleasure. The call will be ending in a minute.